Hi, welcome back. I hope you had a wonderful week and you're ready for another meeting. This week, we continue our very special June edition about domains, web hosting, etc. Last week, we spoke about domains in general. Today, I'm going to delve into what they call top level domains, which are a little bit more specific domains. So, grab your coffee or tea, come in. The meeting is about to start. And I now declare the meeting open. So, as I said, we are going to continue talking about domains and web hosting. And this week, we will explore top level domains. What are top level domains? Well, um, according to several pages that I have researched, including order.com.au. Um, the top level domain, it is the code that comes after your your domain name. So, for example, .com, .com.au, .edu. This is a top level domain. And there are several types of top level domains. I said this last week in the meeting generalizing about domains, and I'm gonna repeat now. There is several types of top level domains. There is the country code top level domains, which for example the .com.au is included, not .net.au, .co.uk, .us, .pt. Usually these domains refer to a certain country, and there's usually rules associated to this type of domain. And to register this type of domain, you usually have to provide that you are a company in that country, so you have to be registered in that country. I know that is the case for Australia, for example. But there are other types of domains that are not necessarily specific for companies, but for example, for um, educational bodies like universities or other educational bodies. And on that case, we have the domains edu. You still have, or there is still a chance of having a country code top level domain associated with edu in your country. For example, I know that in Australia we have edu.au, for example. There is the government ones, and you have, for example, in Australia, the .gov.au or the New South Wales gov.com.au. You have several for government, and those obviously are specific to the government of the country we're talking about. EDU, you have to be a university, a school. Obviously, all of these domains have very strict rules. You have to provide um, the authority that actually control this type of domain that you are registered in that country, and the services you provide fit in the category to get a domain like that. In Australia, as I said last week, the authority that controls all country level domains, all Australian domains, is AUDA, so AUDA, which is the Australian Domain Administration. This body controls, as I said, controls the domains in Australia. And then you have the registrars, as I said last week, which are companies that make the connection between the IP address of your website and your domain name. So they make that connection, so when you visit your website, you don't need to set up a IP address, you just need to set up your domain name. It's very simple, or simpler to say visit updatedwords.com rather than say please visit 101 blah blah. It would be virtually impossible for people to memorize, and it would be very complicated to navigate the web if we had to have IP addresses in mind. So order is definitely, and if you are in Australia and you want to register your domain in Australia, please visit their page because there is lots of information. You have all information you need over there. And even if you have any doubts, you can always contact them and ask questions. Please ask questions. After what me and my client went through with Ostinga, we strongly recommend that you ask questions. The more, the better, because if you have all your information and if you know everything that you need and what requires for you to do what you intend to do, it is simpler and it's less likely that you're going to be conned. So please ask questions. Order has all the information there. They have a list of accredited registrars, which, for example, most of them would also be hosting services. I know my client, for example, choose one of the companies in the order list as a accredited registrar for her .com.au domain, and that company also provides hosting services, and she already changed to that company. The company's name is Ventra IP, and so far she's very happy. What happens is, if you look in your body, in your accrediting body, you probably will find smaller companies in your country. They won't be that much expensive, but unfortunately you may not find them when you do your Google search, because the big ones will be paying and will be having massive SEO and massive investment on marketing, so they always on top and you may not find them and not giving them a go, and that's unfair. So that's another plus of contacting or searching in your country's body for domains. You not only choose a company that is going to be accredited and it's going to be chosen by that particular body, so you're less likely to have problems. You are registering with a company that is in your country, so if something goes wrong, you can always contact your consumer watchdog and you can do something about that. And it's a plus for everyone. And you know that if anything goes wrong, you are within your country, things can actually happen and can be solved. So that's why I strongly recommend that you contact your domain um, body in your country. In Australia is ODA, so ODA, auda.com.au, and search. They have plenty information about all the domains available, about what are the criteria to attribute certain domains, the accredited domain registrars, so you know exactly where you stand, so you know exactly what you need. Then, once again, please know, for example, if you're registering a .com.au domain, you will need to provide your ABN. You will need to satisfy order that you are actually a legitimate Australian company, so you can have that domain. So if you cannot provide that, you won't be able to register the domain, and that will be very useful for our next meeting, when I will talk about the ending of the Ostinger circus. Now, again, ask questions. Plenty. As I said, that is the main thing that you should be doing, is asking questions, knowing exactly what you need. It doesn't matter if it looks like it's too many questions. It doesn't matter if they seem like silly questions for other people. It may be silly for other people. If they make sense to you, that's the way to go. Ask, if you are contacting a hosting company, ask what registrars do they use. Ask if they are order accredited if you are in Australia, or if they are accredited by the authority in your country. ask plenty of questions. Make sure that when you change for hosting company, you know everything beforehand and never sign if you have any doubts. This is the lesson that me and my client learned in the last few weeks. And that's all for today. I now declare the meeting closed. I hope this was another very useful meeting and another useful video that could bring you a lot of information about domains. I know that for me and my client, this was all things that we did not know, and maybe if we knew before we registered with Hostinga, we would never had fallen into the trap that we did, and probably we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I think this is very important that we all know, because I think information is power. And if we have all the information that we need, we know what we want, and it's less likely that less transparent or less honest companies, I would say less honest in regards to Ostinga, less honest companies would be harder for them to lure us into very cheap pricing and all the promises they make with a lot of underlining over them. So I hope this was very useful. But if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Leave a comment. I'll be very happy to answer you. If you had any experience registering your top level domain or any other domain, please share with us. Or if you had a good or bad experience with a hosting service, also please share. The more we expose these stories, the better, because more people are aware of them, and we create awareness for these companies in the market that they may be um, regarded as the top or the second best, but sometimes that's not the case, and that was definitely the case for Ostinga. But it's also important that we point out good companies that we are working with, and know and let people know about them, so they also have a chance to compete with these less honest ones that pay millions of dollars to be on top, and actually they don't deserve that place. So please share with us. Put a like in the video, the whole story, the algorithm, and YouTube, and subscribe the channel with a little click on the bell so you get a notification every week of a meeting. So before I go, I would like to thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely week. See you next time. Bye.